Hello everyone, today I have projects for Jaded Blossom and I used a Hibiscus Stencil, probably said that wrong. There's 2 layers to this stencil, super fun one. And the gnome dies, tiki add-ons, I used the flowers. I'm going to show you just a sample of the flower just to show you how much bigger the dies are from the packaging. And here is the Aloha word die and the Build a Booth tiki add-ons, and I used just those big leaves and the stitch circle die. And here is just the layers that I'm going to do all together. So I have 4 of them, so I'm going to glue one just to show you, and then you just keep on gluing layer after layer. I love the look that it's like store-bought because it's so thick. And yeah, so I'm gonna skip a bit here and show you how nice and thick it comes. And my paper I'm using is Nina White Solar Paper, the 110-pound cardstock. And here I do the base also in 2 layers, just 2 this time, just to make it sturdy. See, nice and thick. And now I'm going to use the wild honey and a picked raspberry and do like an ombre look to them. So I start with the lighter shade on the bottom. And this is why I love the oxide. Now I'm going to take the darker and go on top. Because as soon as you go over the lighter one, you're kind of bummed out. But with oxide, you can go on top again and really blend those 2 together, and it looks beautiful. So here we go. Look how pretty that is. And I take the Nuvo shimmer pen and I'll just give it a little coat of sparkle on top. I just recently did a video with the same technique, but it was separate letters. This one is 1 word attached. It was my Green Lantern video. So yes, and I just loved it, so I'm gonna go again. So you can't tell too much because my light's not catching it. And I'll use some glossy accent, sorry, on top, and I'm giving it a nice thick coat, not being cheap here, because more you put on there, more dimension you'll have on top also, right? So yes, I'm giving it a nice coat here. Just had a little bit extra. And there's the picked raspberry, the wild honey, and the sponge sugar, sorry. And I'll do only 2 of the flowers at a time. I do 3 of them, but I skip a little bit here and there because it's a long video. And there is the inside of the little flower, the little stem. I'm just lightly putting a little bit of that sponge sugar. And here I'm gonna start building the flowers. Go off camera a little bit with my flowers. I shouldn't put my camera that close. focused that much. And I round the edges so there's more dimension to my flowers also. And put a little bit of sparkle inside the flowers also. And I'm just showing you how I just cut that circle from my sample. And I do the edge with a different color with the spun sugar, because I did that on my sample and there's a little bit on one of the side, so I just wanted to cover the other sides so it match. So that will be the inside of my card here. And I don't go too close to the edge of my card so it doesn't affect me closing my card. Sometimes you go too close and then you have to trim it down. And there, I'll put a little bit of glue and close it up. And my card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And just glue that. Try to be centered here. And there's my word die. And you'll see step by step I do this. I didn't know where I was going. I thought I was going to make it nice and simple, have the flowers on the side, and with my word. I was just showing you how nice it was when it was all dried up here. And I changed my mind a few times, so you'll see. But I left it so you can see step by step how I changed it up, because you might like it more simple after the flowers are on there and just keep it plain like that. Yeah, it is really pretty. But I was fussing with it, that's all. So there, I'm gonna put another one, and I just attached the leaves to it with that little square dimension. In there. You can stop right there and it'd be really pretty. But then I thought, I need more. I always do that. I need more. So I took that frame that I had cut and I was going to do something totally different, and it was there. So I thought, well, let's use it. So I'm going with the spun sugar on top of it. I'm going to skip here. And I add it to it. And still not happy with it, so I'm going to tape the sides here, and I'm going to add the darker shade. That's the Pick Raspberry, and I'm going to do the 4 sides. And because my frame is rounded, I had to do the corners like this so it covers. And I'm just going lightly with the picked raspberry. Like I said, I was fussing with it. I really didn't know what I was doing. It turned out beautiful. I'm happy with it, but really, and I even put dimension on the frame. And I'm trying to line it up. There you go. So now my flowers are a little too close to the frame, so I'm going to move them a little bit. There. And I put some bling on them. And I put more bling on it. And there, it's done. I leave it alone now. And I'll put a couple leaves inside just to dress it up a little bit more. There. So now I'm going to do my samples. All three of the colors that I already used, this is what I'm going to do my sample with. Such a beautiful stencil set. I will skip a few parts here because it's just doing one nice even coat. See how I skipped a little? Almost done here. Now I wipe it down because I'm going to go with the sponge sugar. I just want to lighten up the inside of the flower. So I'm going to do that to all the flowers. And I'm going to go twice and do this because it's such a light color. So both of the backgrounds that I'm going to do today are a little different than usual. This one I'm going to use some heat embossing. And here is the inside. And I'll use the wild honey. Yeah, so while the stencil is, my background is still wet, I'll be bringing some clear embossing and pouring it on top of it and heat emboss it. So all the inside of the flowers, especially because I just did it, will take from the heat embossing powder. So even the flowers will have a little bit of shine to them. It turned out really pretty. But of course you don't have to do that step. You can just do what I did right now and call it a day. I just like to do a little different so you're not watching always the same thing. So there, I'm going to put some of this powder on top and it's clear. And shake it off. Take the extra off here and heat emboss it, and you'll see a little bit of shine here and there. Hard to catch the light. But yeah, the inside of the flower, the yellow part, is really shiny. Some of the flowers are too. So I take my lighter shade again and I'm going to frame it. So like my project I did with my card, I had to use a little bit of this around because like I said, I took this sides and then there was a little bit of that. So make it match. Usually I do this with a blue, but I didn't want to use blue on top of my pink, so I thought it'd be pretty with the lighter pink. And because this has heat embossing on there, I will take a cloth and just wipe it down so it doesn't affect the shininess of the flowers. So there it is. So pretty. The transfer gel. Sorry, not the texture. Transfer. Because I'm going to use some foil now. So you don't want to go over like tons and tons of times. You just want to make sure that it has a nice cover. And here I'm going to just peel it off and show you how it looks. And you're going to let this sit for a couple hours until it's dry. And I took my mink and I'm going to cover it with some magenta foil. Just like so. And I always run it twice. So I go through it the first time and then I just bring it back towards me. I don't know if you need to, but I always do, just to make sure everything works nicely. And there, look how beautiful that turned out. There is only one right on top there. I'm gonna point to it there. That is kind of smushed, but that's okay. My sample is pretty big, so if I do a project, I could just skip that one. So now we have the second layer, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just use a different color of foil. Like I always say, I love the stencils that have 2 layers because you can play with it and do so much with them. There, I'm peeling that off. Let that dry for a while. Doesn't need as long as the flowers, but you still want to make sure. And there's the rose gold foil. And peel off. So pretty. So I'm going to bring both of my samples that I just did. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to play with this beautiful stencils that Jaded Blossom have. So that was my cardigan, and I'll show you all the products that I use for today. And there's a sale going on at Jaded Blossom. If you're not familiar, they do that twice a year. So there is the one sample, and the other one I used it on my card, and I hope you like my card and my samples for today, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.